All right, so it is June 12th, 2019, and look at my calendar. Check this out. We are stacked all day from 8:30 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. Why? This is called batch processing, and today I'm recording about 7 different podcast episodes for other people's shows all in one day. They're back-to-back 30 minutes apart, and I have a book coming out called Superfan, so this is kind of like a podcasting tour for the book. So we'll see how this goes, but first, let's talk about batch processing and why that's important. All right, so batch processing, that means spending a majority of the day or a large chunk of time within a certain day to do a specific kind of task. In this case, it's creating a podcast episode with other people. Sometimes you might want to create a podcast episode of your own. For others, they might batch process answering emails or writing blog posts or writing a book. Doesn't matter. This is beneficial because instead of worrying about the transition from one kind of task to another kind of task, which can often take time for you to get into flow state and get in that groove that you often want to get into to make production a little easier, I can wake up today knowing, okay, this is my batch processing day for podcasting. I can have the right sort of mental energy for that. And while I'm doing it, I'm just in that mode, constantly doing the same thing, not having to switch between one task and another. And that allows you to get a lot more done in a short period of time. And then from there, after you have, for example, all the podcast episodes batch processed, well, then you can just send them off to your team or work on them later on and batch process your editing. And guess what? Now, instead of just one episode a week that you're producing, for example, you have 4 done that you can now sort of sprinkle out for the rest of the month if you're going weekly, for example. So sometimes crazy people like John Lee Dumas, when he came out with a daily show, he would batch process an entire week's worth of episodes in just one day on Tuesday every week, and that was his jam for a long time until he started to go weekly. Anyway, thanks, John. You really helped me understand how to start batch processing way back in the day, and it's been really, really helpful, so I appreciate you for that. Now, the one thing I'm worried about looking at the schedule is that we actually didn't account for in case there were any technical issues or, sometimes when you get on a podcast episode with somebody, you don't want to just start recording right away. You have a little chat with them, and sometimes those chats go a little bit longer. So I'm worried because although these are scheduled for 30 minutes apart, I mean, even if the interviewer goes a little over too, that can mess things up. The moment one of them messes up, they're all messed up. And so the only sort of buffer period we have to move things around in case things change is a lunch, which is also a half hour. So I'm a little bit worried we're going to get off track a little bit, and in retrospect, we probably should have recorded in 45-minute chunks and have told these people they have 30 minutes to give, again, more time and buffer space between things. So hopefully things go well. We'll see, but we're about to get on the first one now, so let's do it. Do you like it? Do you want to, should I break this into a new show? Like, who should I have on the show and just start building buzz for it that way? Sorry, got the blue screen, rebooting now. Hey, sometimes this happens, and it's one of the problems with going back to back to back to back to back to back is that, technology isn't always in our favor. And so we're going to have to hopefully get back on soon and make up for that. And it might mean that the next call is going to be a little bit late, which means the next call after that's going to be a little bit late. And so hopefully this lunch break in the middle will sort of allow for a little bit of buffering and moving of time around a little bit. But hey, this is just part of the game. Batch processing, especially when you're working with others and there's technology involved, doesn't always go according to plan. And just expect it. It's going to happen, and you just got to keep going, rolling with the punches. Thank you, Deacon. I appreciate you. Thanks to everybody who is listening to this, and I appreciate all the support for the book. Thank you. Okay, that one's done, and I'm 5 minutes late to this call. Sorry. Here we go. Hey. How are you? I'm doing good. I am actually, interestingly enough, shooting a quick video behind the scenes of what it's like to batch process a bunch of podcast episodes. And so if you could tell everybody how late I am, and I'll tell you why, that'd be awesome. So this is Leah.
Hey.
How late am I?
Let's see. You are 6 minutes
6
late.
minutes. That's. I feel so bad about that. I'm so sorry. So what happened was my first call went over, which meant my second call went over, and then we had the blue screen of death, and then now I'm over here. So this is what happens sometimes. So give yourself some space in between calls, maybe, in case this happens. So don't do what I did. But thank you again for sharing that, and I'm going to turn this off so we can have a great interview. All right, so lunch break happened, and I didn't eat lunch. I had a text, and I got on a call, and all this other stuff happened. Then my wife came home, and then now it's time for the next one. So here we are now, chat with Jessica Brassington. We'll just keep going. Now, luckily, I'm on the keto diet, so actually extending breakfast extending lunch and eating later, I'm on an intermittent fasting thing, so I'm actually going to be okay. I actually feel very energetic right now. I'm actually wondering if I ate, maybe I'd feel a little tired. So I'm feeling really good. So 12:15. Let's go. Jess is one of my students from the Power Up Podcasting Fast Track workshop, but she's got this like amazing looking setup now. Do you do batch processing too, Jess? Like when you record podcasts and stuff?
Yes, that has been huge in helping me, especially now that it's summer with all the kids. Like, it's been really good.
Do you do like a day for like podcast? Like, how do you like? What is it? A few days a week that you batch process, or just one day?
I usually go once a week, and then I'll do up to even 4 episodes or more. And then that helps if I have times when I'm traveling or if I just can't make it. It takes off that stress. So that's been really big for me. See
what I'm talking about? She knows what's up. All right, next up we got Josh Friedman, and we're going to ready to rock and roll, Josh. It's always weird. Sometimes like who initiates the call? I think the interviewer initiates the call most of the time, right? Versus the person being interviewed. But I've done it the other way too, because sometimes it depends on the conversation in Skype. So I'm going to give it 10 more seconds, and if he doesn't call, I'm going to call him. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5. I was just telling everybody how funny it is sometimes, because sometimes when I get on an interview, it's like, who initiates the call, right? Like, do I call you? Do you call me? And I was like, I'm going to give him 10 seconds, but then you typed it. So anyway, if you want to wave to everybody and say hi.
How's it going, everyone?
Cool. And we're going to get rolling, so I'll see you a little bit later. But we just finished up the interview with Josh, and we got the next one with Sean. The funny thing about the interview I just did with Josh, who you just saw, is I totally forgot to mention superfans. I'm here to deliver value to the audience. I'm not here to just promote my book, and we do keep a lot of the topics relevant to superfans, but we just got off on this really great conversation and tangent, and he even had to ask me, like, hey, you had mentioned superfans, a book that's coming out, and a pre-order sort of deal, and I was like, oh yeah, totally, I totally forgot. So he was a great interviewer, and all the people that we connected with today were amazing, but I got one more with Sean Mooney, and then a little bit break, and that's when I'm going to go get some lunch. But I'm not hungry right now. That's the beauty about keto. But anyway, when you are doing a podcast run like this for other shows and you have something you want to promote, I would recommend you just say, hey, I'm here to deliver value to your audience. I just want to make sure we cover the book at some point, but it's up to you. And I always say I'll follow your lead, and we'll go from there. And that way it's just not all about the book and it's forced, and it's just kind of, weird questions about it, about things that people don't even know about. So if a person wants to go in a different direction, that's fine. But thankfully Joshua reminded me that we're here for also the purpose of promoting Superfans and getting people to pre-order it before August 13th to get the audiobook for free. Which, by the way, if you want to do that, you can go to yoursuperfans.com and submit your receipt there. You can pre-order it from Barnes & Noble, Target, or Amazon. You'll see the links in the description below. And if you pre-order before August 13th, my next call is going to start. If you pre-order before August 13th, you'll get the audiobook for free on launch week. Anyway, I got to go. Next call. Bye. Thank you, Sean. That was super fun, and just really excited to connect, and I appreciate all the support for Superfans when it comes out. Dunzo. Let's see. 2 p.m. We've been in here since about 10 a.m., so 4 hours, not bad. But we recorded 6 podcast episodes. So super fans will be spread to that many podcasts and people, and that's awesome. So this is why we batch process. Now, it's not always possible. I'm very thankful to have an assistant to help with scheduling these things. But if you don't, you could use a tool like Calendly to get people to choose like which part of that day. And then she, of course, was smarter than me and had sort of buffer times. But anyway, we have a lot of people to get through. I kind of opened it up to a lot of people to interview me for superfans and hadn't been doing these very often. So there's a long list that we wanted to get through. So I think that's why we packed it in today. But hey, we finished on time. So that's awesome. I'm very thankful for that. And I'm going to get lunch now and then get into office hours, which I offer my course students every single week. But thank you for watching this video. I appreciate it. I hope it helps you understand not just the power and benefit of batch processing, but maybe some of the mistakes that you don't want to make, but also just how fun it can be to connect with people. If you haven't started a podcast yet, I got some information below, and I'll link to a video in the card up here to help you get started with your podcast too, because literally, I mean, we just made 6 new friends today. Now, I did know some of them beforehand, but others I didn't know, and now we can have conversations, and it's just the beauty of this platform. So hope you are having a great day. Make sure you subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And if you do, click on that bell notification icon so you can understand when new videos come out. We got a lot of great stuff coming in, especially as the new studio is going to be built out. We're going to sort of document the entire transformation along the way, including how to soundproof and reduce echo, to set up a live video podcasting studio and lighting and all that stuff. So make sure you hit subscribe and leave a comment below. What are your thoughts and experiences with batch processing? Have you batch processed before? And what are some of the mistakes maybe you've made that you'd like to share with the other community members here too? Thanks so much. Take care. And of course, make sure you listen to the podcast too if you haven't already. Cheers, and Team Flynn for the win.